Hello, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Stevie. This is Stevie Reads. It is Sunday, October 13th today. We are already halfway through this spooky month. I have read one thriller, but I want to read a little bit of horror and just really dive into the spooky vibes because I feel like there's quite a few books on my shelves that I'm always like, oh, I want to read this in October. Oh, I want to read this in October. So I'm trying to prioritize some of those in this video before I do another TBR jar and just like get whatever the jar gives to me. But I want to take you over to my thriller and horror shelves and we're going to pick out 3 books together. I already know what they are. But just to show you kind of my shelves, what we're working with. Okay, sorry a little bit for the odd angle, but I have 3 shelves here and then the 4th one down there. So these are all my horror, thrillers. They're all just mixed together, but all of my spooky books are on these 4 shelves. So kind of hard to get a good angle of them, and sorry the lighting is not perfect down here on the floor. But the first one that I want to read is up on this top shelf. So I want to give The Salt Grows Heavy a try. I've read another book by this author, Nothing But Blackened Teeth. It was also a tiny little horror book, but I ended up not liking that one. I think I gave it a 2 and I unhauled it like 2 Octobers ago, I think is when I read it. So I was suspicious about her next book. Like I wasn't very interested in picking it up because I didn't like her other one. But this one I've heard some high praise about, The Salt Grows Heavy, and it is tiny, so it's such a quick read. But also it is a horror book about mermaids, which I love. I love books about mermaids. So we have Chlorine up there, the one facing out. That book was gorgeous, seriously. Trigger warning for like body horror though, because oh my god, that book was gross. But then I've also read Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. This was one of the first thriller horrors that I ever gave a 5-star. This was so eerie, and like you're with this group of people trapped in like a submarine with this documentary crew going on a sea voyage to the Mariana Trench and encounter some monsters under the sea. So I've really liked my experience with mermaid horror, and yeah, that's what this is. It's a tiny novella, so I don't want to give a whole lot away, but it says, you may think you know how the fairy tale goes. A mermaid comes to shore and weds the prince, but what the fable forgets is that mermaids have teeth, and now her daughters have devoured the kingdom and burned it to ashes. Oh my god, I'm actually so excited for this. Like, I know I didn't like the other book by this author, but that has not diminished my excitement for a mermaid horror book. It is 106 pages, so I could read this in a night. Very excited about this one. And then my next book that I want to read is Temper by Lane Fargo. So I read Lane Fargo's sophomore novel, They Never Learn. This is about a woman serial killer on a college campus. Oh my god, I loved this book so much. I finished this thriller, immediately gave my copy to my mom, and I made her read it, and then I bought myself another copy. Like, I love this book so much. Yeah, this was a 5-star thriller, and this was her sophomore novel. So once I finished this, I was interested in going back and reading her debut. So when I was at a thrift store one day, my favorite thrift store down in Salt Lake, it's called Central Book Exchange, where you can go bring some books and you get points, and then you can use those points for like discounts on the books that they're selling. But yeah, I found Temper. So this is her debut novel. I went a little bit backwards by starting with They Never Learn, but in this book you're following an actress. Her name is Kira. And after years of working in the Chicago theater scene and just struggling, she finally gets the role of a lifetime, but it comes with some costs. I mean, it's a thriller book, so I don't really know what it's all going to entail, but I had such a good time with They Never Learn. This writing style, the pacing, like I did not want to put this book down. So very curious on if I'm going to like her debut, and I've owned this for a couple of years. It's one of those books that I was like, I'd love to read this in October. So October 2024 is the time. Also, both of these are red and black. Loving the theme. And then my last book is also the final tiny like novella on my horror shelf that I have not read yet, is Goddess of Filth by V. Castro. This book is really giving me Bunny energy. Bunny by Mona Awad, one of my absolute favorite books of all time. I'm sure if you are on BookTube at all, you have heard a lot of hype about Bunny. This is basically a fever dream. You are at college with a group of creepy girls I've read this twice. I love, love, love Bunny. But in this, you are following 5 girls. They are friends, and one night they do a seance. It says, hoping to unleash some power to take us all away from our home to the place of our dreams. But it's a tiny little horror, so I feel like they're going to be inviting some spirits to mess with them. I don't know, this one has always intrigued me. Like, the spine of the book is a literal spine. This one as well is 141 pages, but there's not a lot on each page, so this is going to be a very quick read too. I think I'm going to start with this one just because I'm feeling like the girly friendship horror. I'm hoping to finish this one tonight, and then I will jump into either of these. I don't know which one I'm going to pick up next. We'll see if I'm still in the mood for a novella or if I want to finally start Temper. I also want to read the first line with you because it's not spoilery, it's the first line, and I feel like the first line always gives a good feel onto how a thriller is going to be. The dedication is dedicated to all the women finding their way. You are not alone. Oh, cute. Okay, chapter 1. I only found ones with saints or Jesus on them. You think they will scare the spirits away? Okay, so the first line is a question, and we're jumping right into it because if they're lighting candles to scare spirits away, they're about to do a seance. So love that in a novella we just jump right into the damn plot of the story. Normally I do like a halfway point check-in to tell you how I'm feeling about the story, but with these little ones I feel like I just want to read it in one go and then let you know what I think at the end, because I don't want to give any spoilers away. It's too small. Like with these you really just got to jump in. But okay, cool. I'll talk to you later. Hello. We are back on the floor once again for an update. I left my house, went and got a pedicure with my sister. That was a lot of fun and my toes look stunning. And then I got home and I read the entirety of Goddess of Filth. This is compared a lot to the movie The Craft, which I've never seen, so shame on me. I'm just not a big like horror movie person because I get scared so easily, but in books I don't get so scared. Anyway, but this reminded me a lot of Jennifer's Body. You know that quote where she asked Jennifer like, "You're killing people?" And Jennifer's like, "No, I'm killing boys." That was this vibe. Like, if you want a quick horror time about some girlies doing a seance and, you know, about the Goddess of Filth, this was super quick, very intriguing, kept me engaged. I am gonna land on a 4-star. Just very happy I finally read it, and of course that I read it in October. And then I think I'm going to dive into Temper next. Goddess of Filth also kind of reminded me a little bit of They Never Learn, just because of the women killing men vibe. So it made me think of Lane Fargo and just reminded me once again I need to read frickin' Temper. So gonna read this one next. It's also just the biggest book in the video, so feels good to put it in the middle, sandwiched between the little novellas. I want to read the first line with you. Chapter 1, Kira. Oh, we got dual perspectives. Kira, who's the other perspective? Joanna. Who's Joanna? The theater's co-founder. Joanna sees Kira as a threat to her own thwarted artistic desires. Okay, so we got Kira, who's the actress who like gets the role, and then Joanna's the theater's co-founder. Okay, cool. So chapter 1, we are in Kira. The actress exits the theater in tears. Okay, so we start off with an actress crying. But okay, this is the book I'm going to dive into next. I will give an update on this one when I'm halfway through because it is a full-length novel. 339. Okay, we'll round up and say 340. So maybe chapter 42, about like page 172. That seems about halfway. But yes, I'm going to start this tonight since it is Sunday night. It's only 4:30. I got some time. Okay, I am almost halfway through. I'm listening to the audiobook for this one and it says like 46% of the way. So about halfway, but I figured I would give some updates how I'm feeling. So we have Kira's chapters. She's the actress and her chapters are definitely longer, and she's working every single day on this play with Malcolm Mercer. He's the director, but he's also starring in it. Like, he's the lead guy and she's the lead girl in the play for Temper. And I'm not familiar with the Temper story. The only Shakespeare I did in high school was Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth. So I'm not familiar with that, but that doesn't take away from the actual story. I think it might enhance the story, but it doesn't take away from the thriller at all. And Malcolm is very creepy. He's a director, so, you know, he's very direct with his actress, but he's also just mysterious and creepy. They're doing like acting exercises that are teetering the line of like, is this okay? Or like, what is artistic expression and what is crossing the line? Malcolm doesn't really know. But then Joanna and Malcolm are roommates. They started the theater together, and people like in their lives assume they're married and they're not, but they live in the same apartment. And then Kira also has a boy roommate named Spence. He's also involved in the play somehow. I'm not familiar with all like the theater terms, but he was helping like the action scenes, making sure she was like hitting him but not hitting him for the scenes where they get physical. And everybody in this book is gay, and there's a lot of talk about like male and female friendships and relationships and people assuming you're married or together when you're not. But yeah, anyway, having a good time. Right now they're just rehearsing a lot, and Joanna's chapters are very interesting, but they're so short. We only ever get like a couple pages of Joanna and then we're right back to Kira. But Joanna does have a little green monster on her shoulder. She's very jealous of Kira and all the attention she's getting from Malcolm. And it just feels like the pot is boiling, and I don't know what's going to happen, but it is going to overflow. Like, I can see it just being an explosive ending, whatever it ends up being. While I was reading this, it did remind me a lot of All's Well by Mona Awad. It focuses a lot on chronic pain, but also you're following Miranda, who is trying to put on All's Well as a play at her school. And yeah, so this one also takes place in a theater setting, and I mean, this one's not a thriller, but it is pretty horrific at times, and you know, Mona Awad is not scared to just really go there in some of the scenes. So obviously these are similar because they both put on plays, but you know, just the setting of the theater and everything did make me think about All's Well, and this was 5 stars. I love Mona Awad, so any chance for me to talk about how much I love All's Well. It's a little bit of a slower story, but beautiful nonetheless. And yeah, so I'm halfway through, enjoying the story, enjoying the audiobook. I think I have like 6 hours left, and I listen on double time speed, so it's really only 3. I could finish this tonight, but I will be back with another update once I have finished. Good morning. It is a couple of days later, and I finished Temper last night, and I am landing on a 5 for my rating. Oh my god, I just ate the ending of this book up. I don't know if the beginning necessarily felt like a 5, but this ending, my jaw was on the floor. It's one of those thrillers where you read the final page and then you just like stop and look into the distance for 10 seconds to just like think about the ending of what happened, and then you read the last page again. Ugh, it was just so angsty and angry, and it makes a lot of sense that this was her debut novel, because it just feels like something she would have scribbled down behind the curtains while putting on a play. And I've never read the original play by William Shakespeare, The Tempest, so if you love that play, I don't know if like how this compares, but based on the ending, like it has the same Shakespearean drama level, you know, like both of our 2 main characters, the 2 heroines, they're jealous and petty, but by the end, I honestly just wanted to give them both a standing ovation for their performance. Really had a great time with this story. It wasn't very like fast paced as far as like a bunch of twists and turns, but it did feel like we were climbing to something the entire story, and then last chapter, like boom, explosion, book done. So I love when thrillers do that. And I don't know my luck this month with the books that I'm reading. I mean, October is my favorite month, so maybe it's just giving back to me, but I have had more 5 stars this month than any other month this year. Yeah, I mean, I know I gave this author's other book, They Never Learn, 5 stars, so this isn't super shocking, but to me it is a little bit because I just didn't think I was gonna love this one as much. But if you're looking for a thriller with a lot of female rage, Temper. It literally says like sometimes she can control it, sometimes she can't. We see what happens when she can't. So that was 5 stars, and then I'm going to try to finish this last book today. I do feel like I was saving the one I'm most excited about for the end just because I love a mermaid horror, but this book is 106 pages, so definitely doable to read in one day. But let's read the first line together as per tradition. Okay, where are you going? It's just a question. Where are you going? Okay. That doesn't give me a whole lot, but cool. I'm expecting this to be pretty gross and brutal, but 'tis the season for gross and brutal. I just tried to sit in front of the window to get some natural light, and it is so rainy and gloomy out there. It's gonna rain for a couple of days straight. I'm so excited, but anyway, I finished The Salt Grows Heavy last night. Well, started and finished it, and I really disliked it. I'm giving it a 2. I think I just need to trust my past self more with like authors, because I hear the premise of a story and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so interested. But then I've read a book by this author and I've given it 2 stars before. Like, maybe I should think about that before I buy the other book. But yeah, I'm gonna unhaul this. Yeah, didn't really love this story at all. I feel like this author uses the thesaurus on every other word. She just uses these ridiculous words that make it hard to like follow along with the story, and it doesn't add anything. Like, Cassandra Khaw is just really not the author for me. Given 2 of her books 2 stars, so now I super know that. I just won't pick up anything from her in the future, but going to unhaul this. And then like I also need to trust myself when I really love a book, because for some reason I didn't have super high expectations about Temper, and then I end up giving it 5 stars. Like, sometimes an author's writing doesn't work for you, but then sometimes it really does. Lane Fargo just pulls me in. The tension of this book was so good. So yeah, found a new favorite. And then The Goddess of Filth was just 4 stars. I'm gonna keep this on my shelves. A very cute little horror novella. Yeah, love the Jennifer body, just girlies doing some horror shit kind of vibe. So 3 books down for this video. Very happy to read some spooky things before Halloween. But if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. Comment down below if you've read anything spooky that you've loved this season. All of my socials are linked down below like always, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. Bye!